Aye, go to knock or what's the other one? Lockderg.
Yeah.
That was
My granny used to go to
bread and
knock
water.
and always bring us back bottles of holy water and all, you know.
God. Yeah.
And 5 bob.
Yeah. And a miraculous medal.
It's a Catholic thing, folks. And your granny used to go there and
I
bring you
didn't mean
back
it like
something.
that, but anyway.
No, but it is, yes. So, 25 years, it's more, is it not?
It's more. It's 26. I'm at the end of the 26th one. I'm loath to admit that. I've found it hard enough to admit the 25. And now I'm kind of coming in closer. Anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah. I announced this year that I'd been DJing for 40 years. It was a big mistake. Because then people go, whoa, how old are you, big lad? You know, so...
I was going to say, were there DJs 40 years?
Yeah, it was one of those, the wind-up things and all, you know. The big wax cylinders. Give us another one of those gramophone things over, you know.
But yeah, it's great being back. Thanks a million. As always, we kind of have our little, our PR, our little touristy trip to Belfast every year this time of year. It's always, it seems to be, we get the shopping done, get everything done in 2 days, and away you go.
Oh, you're good to yourself, you know.
Of course we are.
I will go up to Belfast and spend a few quid and have a day out, you know. But listen, I meant to ask, when you first started, Tommy, you've got a distinct kind of voice.
Thank you.
No, it is. It's unique. I mean, you know, when you hear you singing, you know it's you. So, did you have any problems in early career?
No, somebody once, there was a comparison to John Denver once, which was not, that's a great compliment. There was also a comparison to Krista Berg in the early career. But, you know, there's always going to be a comparison of some kind. But I've always I've never, and you would know this of me, I've never gone down the road of imitation. I've never gone down, it's kind of, I do, if there's even a cover of a song, then I cover it my way.
Oh, yeah.
And put my stamp on it. I just don't, it's deliberate, I suppose, and it's not deliberate. It's just the way I do it. I sing the way I sing. I don't try to sing like somebody else. And I certainly I paddle my own canoe and I walk my own road, you know. So,
yeah, but you know what I mean? Because certain kids coming into music and they might be unique in the way they play the guitar or play the drums or the way they sing. And industry might say to them, no, you've got to sound like...
I had that problem in the early years when the bigger companies in London wanted to sign me. And yet I could never understand this paradox or this, whatever, even an oxymoron in some ways, because they want, Sony in London wanted to sign me, but yet this was in the early 90s now, and yet they wanted to change me. So why do you want to, what are you looking for that you want, you know what I mean? Hang on, then you don't want to sign me, you know? And I have always kind of stuck my heels in the ground and said, no, this is what I do and I'm not changing for no one. I don't do that. And it's funny, I don't watch the talent programs that much. If they're on, I might have a glance at them. And do you ever notice there's always the phases of the different types of things that come through? Like a few years ago, it was always the young girls that were coming through were all trying to be like Whitney Houston or Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
The bigger note, the longer note. Yeah. And now you've got all singer-songwriter guitar players who are all trying to be like Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they've got their own uniqueness or their own talent that they can shine through. So I would always kind of say, bring that to the table before you bring somebody else's talent to the table.
Well, to be honest, I remember having a jar with a couple of A&R guys from EMI and Virgin, whatever it was back in the day. And I remember because they were over to watch a couple of acts here, and they said the problem is these acts are all making the same mistake. They're trying to be the same as the acts that are big at the minute, but they're too late. We already have that. Yeah, we already have Ed Sheeran. We already have Little Mix. We already have.
You don't.
You know, he says we're looking for the next thing.
Every time I see that, and I don't watch it, I'll be honest. If the X Factor, the X Factor is on in the house, I'll watch it for about 10-15 minutes, and I just eventually go, lads, when is anybody going to realise this is about the judges? It's not about the talent.
Mm-hmm.
And I just can't, whereas if you see something like Dancing with the Stars or Dancing on Ice, then it is somebody coming in trying to do something that they're not able to do, or that they have to learn something new. I just see talent competitions as I just don't think it's I don't like them, I'll be honest. I'm going to get killed for saying that, but do you know what? I'm 47 years of age. If I haven't got my own mind at this point and my own opinion, I never will have, you know.
Yeah, but it's funny, those I think that the novelty's long worn off on those kind of things, you know.
I also think that in the early years of these programs, or these shows, it's it was a fast track to fame for a lot of these young acts. And the young acts, and I use the word fame very loosely because that's what they were after. They weren't after a career, they were after fame. And there's a huge difference between a career and being famous. A huge difference.
And for a lot of them, and I've interviewed them, before, during, and after, if you like, their career curve. It lasted 18 months for them, and for the lucky ones.
And it's horrible for what happens when the curve goes the other direction.
And it just dropped
because they don't know how to handle that.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Brookstein, he was the older guy.
He was the very first winner of X Factor. He was the first winner.
He said it did him a big disservice. He lost work out of it. He had a nice wee career, making good money, doing his gigs, and and selling his CDs and everything else. And then he had to say bye-bye to all his regular work to do the X Factor stuff. And when it fell, the famous people in the business didn't want to know him, and he had to start all over again.
Well, okay, that's great. Not great, I don't mean in a good way. What I mean by that is, at the end of the day, he's a grown man. He made the decision to go in and do that.
Yeah.
And he also made the decision to say goodbye to the work. Because it didn't work out is nobody's fault.
Yeah.
There are people at fault. At the end of the day, he wasn't forced to do anything he didn't want to do. So, anything that's lost can be recovered, in my opinion. So go back to where you started.
Yeah.
Crying over spilt milk is not the answer to anybody's problems.
I just think that he thought, and loads of them have thought, well, I'm on the TV and this is me made for life, and it's not. It doesn't work like
there's
that.
There's a lot of work you have to put in. It's like, look, you're not going to become a doctor by doing 6 months working in an A&E unit. Do you know what I mean? You have to put in the hard slog. You have to put in. It's an apprenticeship almost. Like somebody would say to me, I'm a very different artist that stands on the stage in the Ulster Hall, to the lad that was playing in McGoldrick's bar in Castlebar in 1989, and it took a lot of knocks. It took a lot of singing the wrong songs. It took a lot of abuse, to a degree, to become the artist you become, and it doesn't happen overnight. And it's not easy. And anyone that thinks there's an easy track to this is very foolishly mistaken, because there's not. You have to have the willpower, you have to have the work ethic, you have to have talent. Don't get me wrong, you don't have to be super talented. But if your work ethic is anything that can be admired, then make a go of it.
But again, you'll agree, the work ethic never stops. It can't.
It can't stop. It can't.
So you see, people think, you get a wee break and then that's it, and then you just surf the rest of it. You don't have to make any. But it doesn't work. You have to just keep.
Somebody said to me, somebody was asking an explanation on all of that once, and I said the best explanation, the best example I can give you is Madonna. She's not the most talented singer in the world. She's the most diligent, hard-working, professional artist, I would say, out there.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And she has held on to that crown, for want of a better word, for how many years? 30-something years, might be more.
Yeah, it's always to keep working.
Work ethic is the secret to it. It's not just my job, your job.
Oh, yeah.
All of our jobs. It's if you've got a good work ethic, going out on a Sunday night getting wasted is not going to do your job any good for Monday morning.
Yeah, no matter what your job is. I remember hearing Muhammad Ali talk about it, and they were saying about the work he puts into boxing and everything else, and he just says, well, I'm dedicated. He says, and he was out in the street and he pointed to the guys, the bin men. He said, if I was one of those guys, I'd want to be the best one.
Yeah, that's what it is.
He says, it's just, no matter what I was doing, he says, that's in me, and people need that ethic of, I'm getting up and I'm going to train and I'm going to do this,
But it's good for yourself. It's good for your self-esteem. It's good for, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, Johnny, maybe we're all wrong.
Do you never think of starting a management company?
No, not at all.
No,
I wouldn't have the patience.
Well, again, but with the experience you've gained, get some of these young kids in.
Because I don't know why. I wouldn't have the patience, simply because I'm no good at guidance. You either can do it or you can't. You know what I mean?
A harsh master,
But that's it. And I can't. Like, Tina's brilliant at it. Tina can kind of bring something around to her way and make it all happen, whereas I just don't. Hence the reason I don't play golf, because I need to be at the 18th hole within 10 minutes. No, I can't. I can't.
We're a new game here.
Yeah. And in the 19th hole within 20.
Yeah.
I don't. Hence the reason I prefer to. I suppose it's not that I'm not a team player. I'm a huge team player. I just can't. I need things to move faster.
Yeah. Were you always that impatient with your own development early on? You're saying you're playing around the bars. Did Did
Yeah.
things progress quickly for you?
They progressed fairly quickly. I started if I'm honest, I started when I was 15. You could play in pubs that time, and my dad used to drive me around to them. And I played guitar very badly, and I'd be in the corner singing, and I just wanted this to move to the Olympia Theatre the next day, you know, that type of thing in Dublin.
Yeah.
And, you know, somebody said to me once, God, it's amazing when you hear an orchestra around you and everything else. And I laughed myself, because I always think, I come back to, as I mentioned, that pub earlier on, McGoldrick's Bar, every Thursday, Sunday nights in 1989 and 1990 in Castlebar. And I'd be playing something like Through the Barricades on the guitar, and yet there was only the guitar and me singing, but I could hear the orchestra in my head.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when I would be able to move it somewhere else. And yeah, I was impatient, and probably isn't a good thing. You have to kind of sit back and let things happen too. But if you're waiting for it to happen, it won't. You have to make it happen, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, listen, can you hang around?
Of course I can.
I'm going to get an ad break done. It'll take us up to the news, and then we'll play a song for them after the news.
I'd love to do one live, yeah.
Good stuff.
Happy birthday, dear Andrea. Happy birthday to you.
Whoa, you've made somebody's day. You have indeed. And Andrea says, give fiancé John and I hello. Getting married on the 24th of January.
Oh, lovely. What a great time of year to be getting married.
After you singing that, I think the wedding's off, you know.
That's all.
So we stage door. Tommy, remember you sang to me. Do you meet your fans much?
I do. I find the word fan funny, because I find it's up there with the word celebrity.
Yeah.
I don't. There's no celebrities in Ireland. Come on, we're too small. We haven't even.
You see, when people say celebrity, I think Robert De Niro.
Is a
That's a celebrity.
Yeah.
You know,
Barack Obama's a celebrity.
Yes.
Madonna's a celebrity. That's it. You know, those kind of mega things. That's where they're worldwide. I would never put the word celebrity in my radar at all.
but for a lot of people, you know, they buy your records, they queue up to buy your tickets. And
I love that, and I'm so grateful for that. But like, look, I'm the same as everybody else. I get up in the morning and put my trousers on one leg at a time. Do you know what I mean? And I just happen to. My job is maybe a little bit different, and maybe a bit more public. But it's not as. Sometimes, you know, I admire the men that get up and the women that get up at 5 and 6 a.m. in the morning, and you know, some of the lads are donning the hard hat and trying to weather the cold and work on the roads or work on a building site, or that's hard work. Nurses that have to go in and do a 12, 15-hour shift or 20-hour shift sometimes. Doctors, same way, junior doctors. They have their work cut out, and they're dedicated, and they're the amazing people. Mine is just for the love of what I do, and so is theirs, don't get me wrong. And I just thank God I have a talent to do that, and I've been able to travel around the world doing it. That's why I never ever take it for granted. I never look at myself ever as a celebrity. It is what it is, you know, and I don't think you can do. I think the day you start looking at that or believing that, you're in a lot of trouble, and you know you're setting yourself up for a very big fall.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Well, you are one of the guys that realise in this whole business that we work in, we're very lucky.
We are.
We all do what we love.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? And you know, it's great to say you have fans. I like to think that it's people that love the music, and that they follow it, and it's brilliant, and that if it helps them, or it's comforting, or it makes them feel good, or whatever the word may be that the music does, then I'm doing my job okay.
Yeah,
that's how I look at it.
Listen, you're here, and we're going to get you to sing. Anthony's got the guitar, so what are you going to give us?
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do do you mind if I do a Christmas song?
You do what you want.
Because I'm looking at that Christmas tree, and it's anyone that's watching us online, I'm sure, is going to go, wow, that's bright. Anyway, I love doing this Christmas song. I don't know what it is. It sums it all up for me. We're 10 days away from Christmas, 7 or 8 days actually, sorry. And I think this is just kind of the ultimate, to me this is the ultimate Christmas song. This is In the Bleak Midwinter. In the bleak midwinter, frost and wind made moan. Earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow on snow, snow on snow. And in the bleak midwinter, long ago, angels and archangels may have gathered there, cherubim and seraphim from the air, but his mother only in her maiden bliss worship the beloved with a kiss. Oh, what can I give him, poor as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would bring a lamb. If I were a wise man, I would do my part. Yet what can I give him? Give my heart. Yet what can I give him? Give my heart.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well done. Well done. Thank you very much
Thank
indeed.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Anthony. By the way, the gigs,
Oh yeah, that's why we're here.
Ulster Hall, 16th of February.
Ulster Hall, back to the Ulster Hall. Love that venue. Love it, love it,
Oh,
love
it's
it.
terrific.
Yeah.
It's the best venue in the world. It really is. You know.
It's the highest stage we play actually in the
Yeah.
whole tour. It's always because the big old high stage.
You're going to dive off it some night?
Oh yeah,
You know?
Can't-
Like Metallica?
I dread to think who I'd land on. Belfast Ulster Hall, Friday the 16th of February, and back into the Millennium Forum in Derry
on the 23rd.
on the 23rd of February, Friday as well.
You know, if only anybody was buying anybody a present for any particular reason, that might be nice.
You know those ads that come out? It's like, and remember, ladies and gentlemen, Tommy Fleming tickets make the ideal Christmas present.
Ideal stocking filler, you know.
An ideal stocking filler.
Yeah, well, I know it's class. Listen, thanks very much for coming in.
Not at all. Thanks
again.
as always for
Okay.
having me. Listen, thanks for the support always over the years. Have a great Christmas, all of you, and to the listeners, have a wonderful Christmas and a new year.
Tommy, thank you.
Thank you.